Okay, well welcome to the UCLA Study Abroad Information Session. Can you all hear me in the back there? Yeah. Hey, my name is Amber D'Souza. I'm the Director of Admissions and Marketing at the United States Studies Centre. And we're very pleased to be offering the UCLA Study Abroad program again in 2013 for Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences and Business School students. Before I get into all the information which I know you're dying to hear about, I'm actually going to invite a lecturer at the US Studies Centre, Dr. Rebecca Sheehan, who came on the program last year and is going to share with us about what she thought the students gained from the experience and also her experience in LA. She was there previously as an academic doing her PhD in LA. So, Rebecca, would you like to come and share with us? Thank you.
Hello everyone. So, a couple of things I noted in that clip that you just watched, that the sun shines 312 days a year. Is that one of the things that that was said in it? The sun shines pretty much all the time in Los Angeles, so that's really good for your happy chemicals. That's a good start for when you're there, and you'll be there at the peak time of year. I went to LA to study in 2002, so it's more than a decade ago now. I went as a Fulbright scholar to do my PhD in history at UCLA, and I spent a year there before I moved on to USC, the competitive university in Los Angeles. I also noted they talked about the Bruins, so American colleges are really into their mascot, so the UCLA Bruin Bear, and you'll get a Bruin identification card, so these are terms that you'll become familiar with. A couple of things about Los Angeles in addition to the sun and also UCLA. In Sydney, often people ask you where you went to high school to get a sense of who you are and where you come from. It's a marker of status in part and where you fit into the social order. In the United States, people don't care as much where you went to high school, they care about where you went to college. UCLA is one of the best universities in the world, and when you tell people that you've been to UCLA, they understand it as a marker, not necessarily of social status, but I think it's a real marker of intelligence. To get into UCLA, you have to be bright. And because it's a public institution, it really relies on not people paying their way into the university, it relies on people's school grades and aptitude tests on getting in there. So you'll be there with really bright people. And to teach really bright people, they need really bright professors. So you're also there studying with the best people in the world. It's an incredible experience. One of the reasons that I wanted to go to the United States is because I have extreme social anxiety. I wasn't very good at speaking on my feet, and I wanted to have an opportunity to be in a country where people are encouraged to say their opinion. And I think you're going to hear from two of the people who were there at the program last year. There's a big difference in class at UCLA. There's a big difference in tutorial discussions. So here, when it's time to put forward your answer, people tend to look at their book, or there might be one or two people who dominate the tutorials and discussions week after week. It's not as much like that there because people are encouraged to speak. It's part of the culture to speak. It will help you intellectually to be in an environment like that. It will help you socially and culturally to be in an environment where you're encouraged to think about your opinion and to articulate it in a useful way that contributes to conversation. So that's one of the great opportunities for you of going on a program like this. I was there as a student, I was also there as a teacher, so I tutored students in women's history when I was at UCLA and also in American history when I was there. It was an amazing experience to see the diversity of the student body at UCLA. You're not going to see that kind of diversity in the same way at any other American institution because it's a public university, because of where it's located as well. Los Angeles is a truly global city representing immigrants and citizens from all over the world there. So it's a fantastic and amazingly diverse student body. And then last year I was there for 3 weeks of this program, and I had the opportunity to observe the students from here who went along. And there are some amazing things for me about seeing what happened with them and how they developed in the 6 weeks there. So 6 weeks I think is a fantastic period of time for you to be there. It's enough, but it's not too much, and it's not too little, or it might whet your appetite for wanting to spend more time there. But two of the key things about it is the cohort experience that you'll have with fellow students going from Australia over there with you, but also the interactions and the global networks of your own that you start to build from the students who are there. So you'll be in class with American students, but it's also, because it's during their summer session, other international students and people from around the United States and around the world all go in to do these intensive summer classes there. So it's an opportunity for you to really expand not just academically but also your personal horizons, your experience on the ground of another country and of other cultures. I think I might leave it there.
Thank you. Thanks, Rebecca. I'd like to now introduce two students. We've got Cassidy Lone, so Cassidy's doing a Bachelor of Arts here at the university, and Thomas Marmicus, who's doing a Bachelor of Commerce and Bachelor of Laws, and they both went on the program last year, and they're going to share with you their experiences. Cassidy, do you want to start?
So, last year I was here watching this video and feeling the same things as everyone in this room, and I was assured many times that this was going to be the best experience I would have at university. And I'm here to tell you that it is legitimately that best experience. It was not only the best thing I've done at university, but so far the best thing that I've experienced in my life. I was attracted to the UCLA program because it was such a unique experience. You get to travel overseas with a group of Sydney students, which is so much better than the usual exchange programs where you're going pretty much alone. During our trip, our Sydney cohort grew incredibly close, and it was such a relief to have them here when we got back to Sydney and experienced some serious post-UCLA depression. Coming from the cold Sydney winter into the palm tree-lined, warm summer streets of Los Angeles is pretty much the closest thing to heaven I think I'll ever experience. In the first few weeks at UCLA, it was often hard to distinguish whether I was living in a dream or reality. I don't think there's any other university where you can combine studying celebrities in the best psych class that I'll ever take with wandering down to the Bel Air gate and standing there for hours admiring it, or meeting John Voight. I knew this was going to be one of the best 6 weeks of my life when, during the first week of the UCLA program, the latest Spider-Man premiere took over our college town of Westwood. I got the opportunity to meet Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone, which was amazing, and I don't think things like this happen in usual study abroad experiences. My experience living on campus was really straight out of the movies. We met new roommates, gorged ourselves in the fabulous American dining halls, and fraternised with all the Americans we could. UCLA gives so much more than the regular college experience though. In our spare time, we were wandering around Santa Monica Pier, attending tapings of Chelsea Lately and Jimmy Kimmel. We'd take tours of Sony and Warner Brothers studios. We watched the Dodgers win on the 4th of July and embraced our inner children at Disneyland. On the weekends, we took trips to Las Vegas and San Francisco and anywhere else that took our fancy. In the short term, the UCLA program realigned my goals and focused me on my dreams. It would really be impossible to go on this program and remain unchanged. It opens you up to a new world of possibilities. I gained lifelong friendships in America and around the world. I've just gotten back from visiting my roommate from UCLA in Paris, friends that I met over summer in London, and of course, I spent another month and a bit spending time with my best friends in Los Angeles, who I met during the program. This trip was a fantastic step towards my future aspirations of working and living in the US. It really gave me global connections. I am forever grateful for being afforded this opportunity, and I really can't put into words how much it meant to me. I would do anything to relive this UCLA program, and I urge any of you, if you even want to apply a little bit, just go for it. Get ready to get that American confidence, brag as much as you can on your application, because that's what Americans do, and get ready to live your California dream.
Hi guys, so I went with Cassidy and a group of about 40 other students to UCLA last year. I was in my second year and we went obviously over our winter period and their summer break in UCLA, and I've been asked to speak about what my experience was UCLA, and also part of the reasons why I considered going. So I think the first obvious reason is the fact that it's winter here while it's summer there, and as Rebecca said, there's 312 days the sun shines in UCLA. I think we managed to make it to Malibu Beach every weekend while we were there, so I guess that's one reason straight off the bat you'd rather spend a summer in LA than a dreary and wet winter in Sydney. A few of the other reasons I went to UCLA is, firstly, it allows you to get, on a more practical level, 2 subjects out of the way, particularly for commerce students and law students who have lots of compulsory subjects. It's quite good to be able to get 2 units out of the way, whereas you wouldn't be able to do that if you stayed in Sydney. One of the things I really liked about LA is that being in a convenient position on the California coast, you can use it as a really good place to study, and not only study but also use as a base. We did weekend trips away to San Francisco, San Diego, Las Vegas, which was certainly a highlight. A few people in our group went to Mexico because the way that the classes are actually structured is that you have fairly minimal contact hours doing only 2 subjects, and most people, the way they can configure the timetable in UCLA is that so they only have classes on 2 days, and essentially that gives them the rest of the week to travel, whether it's in California, and some people even manage to sneak in a trip to New York before and after the trip. So it's quite convenient from that respect. Some of the other things that we did while we were over there, Amber organised a few events between the group and with some of her connections in the US. So we had a function at the Australian consulate in LA, which was quite interesting. We got to meet a former ambassador from Australia to the US and a number of other luminaries, including the head of the Department of Homeland Security, which is interesting. I thanked him for letting me into the country. I guess that's another reason as well. I know a lot of friends who go on exchange to other locations, particularly in the US. It's quite a sort of an acrimonious process to get all the logistics done and to actually get your visas approved and everything. The US Study Centre does that for you. So it's quite convenient in that respect. Just following on from what Rebecca was saying about the student experience you have in actually studying at UCLA, it is a part of travelling over there, in addition to the sort of socialising and travelling you do with American students like Cassidy did and a number of others did. But when I was at UCLA, I took 2 subjects that I normally wouldn't be able to take here at Sydney University. I did a subject called Entertainment Law and then a US Foreign Policy subject. Both were taught by really impressive lecturers. One, a political science lecturer who served 20 years in the US Marine Corps and had become a professional academic, but had also worked in think tanks and had quite a lot of political experience. And I guess the refreshing thing about lecturers in the US is they can be quite strident in their views, and they really challenge their students in the class to engage with them. And it's probably a lot more vocal and active than you're otherwise used to. And the other subject I did, as I said before, was entertainment law, and that subject was interesting because it was taught by an actual practitioner, a litigation solicitor in the US, who, among his other achievements, had the distinction of successfully suing Ellen DeGeneres, the popular television host. So that was also quite an interesting class. But I think this is definitely a trip worth going on, for the simple reason that you meet people that you otherwise wouldn't meet. You have quite a good group of students that are coming from Sydney University, and I think a number of other universities as well, but I think Amber will talk more about that. And also the fact that you can use it as a convenient base to travel around and experience the best that the US has to offer.
Thanks guys, I think my job's done. They said it all, but I will go on a little bit more. So I thought I'd start off by just telling you about the program and how it came to be. So US Study Centre is very fortunate in that we have some incredible networks and contacts in the US, one being UCLA. And as you might know with exchange, while the University of Sydney and many other unis in Australia have exchange partnerships with UCLA, it's highly competitive to gain a place there. And usually, 1 to 2 students will go there a year. We're very fortunate in that last year we could take 40, and this year we're taking almost double the amount with us over. And that's really unheard of, particularly with the University of California, but any other prominent university in the US. It is exclusively offered to University of Sydney students, but this year we're also including students from the University of Western Australia, which will make the group dynamic very interesting, I'm sure. A couple of things that it's differentiates it from exchange just up front is that it is a group study abroad program. It's integrated into the at-home curriculum. Now what that means is we take all the hard work out of the credit approval process for you. We make sure that when we put this list of units together that UCLA offers, that we go through and work with the faculties here at the university to make sure that they fit into your degree. And that's really important because it takes that really tedious application process and credit approval process away from you and having to do that on your own, and we help facilitate that. And the other thing is that it is completed over your winter break, so you get to accelerate your degree, and it doesn't affect your degree progression because you're not taking a whole semester out to do exchange. So what are the benefits? Gaining invaluable international experience. I don't think I need to say much about that other than, as I'm sure you're all aware, employers are very much looking for how you have done things in your degree to demonstrate your competitive advantage and to demonstrate the broadening of your education. And an opportunity like this goes very far in doing that. UCLA is ranked 13th in the world, and in fact, if you look at that list, the Times Higher Education's ranking list, all the universities above UCLA, except for UC Berkeley, are private institutions. So really, it's the second university in the world in terms of public unis. You live on campus, as these guys have told you about, and experience the full richness of college life. I'm sure you've all seen the American movies. Yes, the fraternity and sorority parties are there and they exist, and these guys all got to experience them, even though they didn't talk about them. But yes, it is very much, even though it's in the summer period, there's about 17,000 UCLA students who do the summer sessions, and many students from all over the world. You will receive credit towards your degree, and then the other things the guys have spoken about already. Program is 6 weeks, and I know you're saying to me, okay, well I know my winter break's not 6 weeks, so how can I go over for 6 weeks? You do miss 1 week of your examination period here. That doesn't mean you don't have to do your exams, you still have to do them. And you also miss the first week of second semester. What that means is that your exams will be rescheduled if there's any clashes. That might mean that your exam needs to be done before you leave. It might mean that you need to do your exam at UCLA or do it when you come back. But what we do is work with you and the relevant department to reschedule that exam. And missing the first semester, you'll need to catch up on that, but I guess you're fortunate in the sense that there are no tutorials in that first week. You'll receive 12 credit points towards your degree. You can choose from hundreds of UCLA courses, and what I'll show you, this hasn't gone live on the website yet, but it will go live on Thursday. These are all the different units of study you can do, and as you can see, there are hundreds of courses there. There literally is something for everyone. So I just wanted to show that to you quickly. Accommodation and most meals are also included, and pre-departure seminars and activities in LA. You must complete 2 4-unit courses at UCLA, and a 4-unit course is equivalent to a 6 credit point course at the University of Sydney. You must nominate 4 preferences on your application form, and that's because all courses are subject to availability. So last year, I don't think anybody really had trouble getting into their course. Some were waitlisted, but places did become available. But I just wanted to say up front that they are subject to availability. So if you've got your heart set on a particular unit, just keep in mind that you might not get into that unit. They are credited towards elective units in your degree. For arts students, you must receive approval before you go for those units to be credited towards your degree, and that's because with an arts degree you have a Table A and Table B subjects, and we just need to make sure that you are covering off the requirements for that. For business school students, you can take anything except for a few units that are not available to you, but we'll let you know what those units are, and they're counted as unspecified electives towards your degree. In some instances, you can apply to have it credited towards your major, but that is subject to the faculty approving that. Okay, accommodation. You will live on what's called the Hill at UCLA, and that's where all the accommodation is located, and it's a beautiful place to be because you overlook the whole of the UCLA campus. There are on-campus furnished residential halls and suites, and you can choose depending on what suits your budget, but I'll go through that detail in a minute. It's triple or double room share. You can choose from either 11, 15 or 21 meals per week. At the centre, we recommend, based on experience, that a double room in a residential suite with 11 meals a week is probably the best package to go with. And we also recommend that you hop onto the UCLA website and have a look at the virtual tours. That information and link will be on the US Study Centre site as well, so you can go and have a look. I'm going to show you a video on the accommodation so you get a bit of a sense of what it's like.
Hi, my name is Simone. I'm a UCLA freshman, and I'm here to introduce you to living on campus. We are here on the hill. That's where undergraduates live at UCLA.
Here we are at the south end of the hill. This is Deneb Plaza. The buildings here have tree or plant names, from A for acacia through H for holly. Here's Holly. It's where I live. It's the center of the universe.
Please, on the north end of the hill is Sunset Village with places like Canyon Point and Courtside. I live in Courtside.
It's right by the tennis court.
Tennis is fun, but if that's not your game, there's a bunch of other things to do. Like an outdoor gym. Or basketball. Or volleyball. Or swimming.
In between Deneb Plaza and Sunset Village, there's a mixture of new and updated buildings. For instance, there are the three Reavers: Reaver Hall, Reaver Vista, and Reaver Terrace.
On the hill, you're never very far from Central Campus, where your classes, libraries, and student services are.
More than 90% of new students live on campus. When you live here, you get oriented to campus life sooner.
The food is great, and you have a choice of 4 different restaurants here.
Hey, thanks, stay well.
There's a lot of variety here at Feast. My favorite is all the vegetarian options.
The best is the sushi.
But I love the flatbread. You can even check your phone for the daily menu or nutritional facts.
If you want to.
This is a great place to live.
Let's go check out our room. We have an award-winning dining program, and Deneb is one of the best. Let me show you around.
The cafes are fun too.
Some people hang out in their rooms, but there's a whole student neighborhood with places to study and places to kick back. It's a lot of fun living on campus, and it can help you do better academically. Plus, there's over 5,000 events every year happening right here on the hill.
If you visit campus, be sure to take a housing tour and see for yourself.
See you here soon.
Do you notice all the emphasis on food? They do love their food there. And I know the guys were missing their American portion size when they got back. Okay, so I guess you're wondering about costs. How much is this going to cost you? Well, there are two different types of costs, and the first one is what we call the fixed fee package, and that includes, as you can see from the table, tuition for 2 courses, health insurance, travel insurance, your administrative fees, your Bruin card, which is your passport to all things at UCLA, and the pre-departure seminars and activities in LA, including Disneyland and your Dodgers game ticket and receptions and things like that. So that's $4,950 in US dollars, so at the current exchange rate, that amount is less. And then the other things, the other components of the program include accommodation. We don't want to kind of limit you by choosing your accommodation option, so we let you choose based on your budget, and as you can see, there's quite a different range of options available. And you can see from the triple room in a residential hall with 11 meals per week is about $1,600. We can go up to over $3,000, which is the double room in a residential suite. So it's completely up to you. Are you eligible? Well, you're eligible if you're an undergraduate, local or international, and we really encourage international students to apply for this program as well. Enrolled in a degree in the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences or the Business School. I've received inquiries about the Faculty of Science. They're still considering, and it looks like they're going to come on board, but we cannot confirm that at this stage. But if you're a science student, stay tuned, and if the Faculty of Science confirm, we'll definitely let you know. You must have completed or will complete by the end of semester 1 at least 48 credit points of your degree. The reason being is that we need grades to assess you once. So if you're a first year student, you won't have grades in time for the application process. But if you're a first year student and you're sitting here, it's great to be here and learn about the process for next year. You need a minimum credit average, WAM, and you also need to demonstrate to us your potential to be an outstanding ambassador of the US Study Centre and the University of Sydney. And how we assess that is on your application form. We'll ask you questions about leadership positions you've held and qualities that you possess, extracurricular activities, any achievements throughout university and even high school that you can demonstrate on your application. And when you see the application form, it really challenges you to think about your responses. For example, one of the questions is, in 3 words or less, sum up your personality. In 3 words or less, tell us why you want to enroll in the program. So what we're trying to do is get a really short and sharp kind of impression or summary of who you are, so we can make an assessment of whether you'd be best suited to this program. Also, cultural understanding and awareness of the US is desirable. This could be demonstrated through maybe some study that you've done at the university in US history or US politics, for example, or any other interests that you have that you can put on the application form that might help. Okay, how do you apply? It's really easy. So the same website that you went to register for this information session. On Thursday morning, we'll go live with all of the program information, including the program conditions and guidelines, and an online application form. On that form, you will need to fill out all of your details, including payment for the deposit, which is $400. The reason we require this up front is that once we enrol you with UCLA, that fee is non-refundable. They've got a $400 non-refundable fee, in other words. So as soon as we assess your application, if you're successful, we enrol you immediately so that we can get the process rolling. If you are unsuccessful, then that $400 will be refunded. And you can pay that online as well when you submit your application. You must submit your application on the 6th of May. There will be no extensions. I just wanted to highlight that there are some important dates that you must be able to commit to if you apply for the program. All the dates will be available on the website, but I wanted to point out a couple of things. Firstly, there are 2 compulsory pre-departure sessions that you're expected to attend. You need to also make sure that you can keep the payment deadlines, as well as visa processing, housing application timelines. The US Study Centre will help you facilitate all of this, so don't feel like there's lots of work ahead of you. The most difficult aspect of this is getting your application in, really, and then everything else we will walk you through. Also, the program start and end dates, they're not negotiable. You must start on the 24th of June and finish on the 2nd of August. And the other thing with regards to housing I must also point out is that you must stay at UCLA. Even if you're an American citizen or you've got friends and family in the US, a condition of the program is that you must live on the on-campus housing. And also you must agree to the exam changes. So if your department says that they are rescheduling your exam for a particular date, whether that be before or after the program or at UCLA, you need to stick to that date. We cannot make changes. But all the dates will be available online, so have a look at that before you put your application in. So what's your next steps? Visit the website today, and we'll have some more information, and then on Thursday, so tomorrow morning, the application will go live. Read the program conditions and guidelines very carefully, make sure you understand what's involved. Submit your application, and there'll also be an inquiries form. Before you put your inquiry in, please read the information, because 90% of the time the questions we get are already answered on the website, and there's an FAQ